Welcome back, my friends. Today we're going to uncover those hilarious moments in life that make you laugh and cry. Footsteps echoed at the door again. The girl rushed over, hurling her brother onto the bed like a rocket, puzzling Jack further. She called herself Dad, startling Jack enough to qualify for Olympics. Filled with questions, he clumsily put on cheap red pants. Before he knew it, a woman pulled him back. Despite her cougher's strength, he recognized ex-Annie. But he was like a crazed deer sprinting down the stairs, met with a scene that hit him like lightning. The bustling city morphed into a small town, and his Ferrari in its place stood a beat-up van, and Jack knew he couldn't dawdle. He hurriedly bolted towards New York City, arriving but there stood the doorman, guarding the door like a treasure protector, shutting him out and sarcastically proclaiming this wasn't his turf. He couldn't believe his eyes. The doorman, who had been so humble and submissive just yesterday, was now cold and distant towards him. Just at that moment, a neighbor happened to pass by, casting a disdainful glance at him as if she had discovered some strange and alien creature. "Saw you here earlier, took 2 pics," she said, looking down. "I'm going up, you take a walk." "No, this isn't right, I can't barge in." Jack, guilty as a child caught stealing cookies, scolded himself. Drove to his company only to find himself rejected again. No matter how he explained, the receptionist treated him like a cranky stranger. To prove identity, he angrily pointed at the management list, but found the CEO name was his subordinates. Jack couldn't believe his eyes. Overnight, the world had become utterly bonkers. He dashed out of the company, nearly getting run over by a luxury car. Closer look revealed his Ferrari, with last night's black man inside. Jack's last hope flared, urging him to jump in. He hoped the guy would say it was all a prank, yet he was coldly informed, "This is all you're doing." Jack was perplexed, filled with helplessness, pleading with the man to let him go and give him a shot at his old life. The black man then rambled on pointlessly, abruptly threw Jack out with a brake slam, and tossed him a red bag containing only a regular bike bell. "Will you call me? You've got to leave now." Watching the car fade into the distance, Jack was left reluctantly facing reality. He drove back to the town, but in morning haste. He lost his way, planning to ask passers-by for help. To his surprise, a guy recognized him. "Jack, I found you." "Oh, and this guy is your stranger. Where have you been?" Man dragged Jack into his home, saw wall photos, and realized they were best friends. His friend saw Jack's goofy look, and chuckled, thinking Jack had fought with Annie, saying, "Isn't that Kate? Look, she looks just like our kid." His friend couldn't believe Jack and Annie would ever spat, since they were known as the cutest couple in town. To others, Jack was the envy of all, with a beautiful and sweet wife, 2 adorable kids, and living in a fantastic 4-bedroom, living a peak life. Jack couldn't understand why his friend's contentment stopped here, feeling like he fell from heaven to hell. So he cautiously navigated this new world. As soon as he entered the house, Annie eagerly hugged him. Since Jack had never vanished without a trace like today, Annie had been looking for him all day and almost called the cops. Jack didn't know how to explain to Annie, stuttering about how he had no marriage, no kids. He even pulled out the bell the guy gave him, hoping the chime would wake him from this bizarre dream. Just then, his daughter rode up on her bike, thinking it was a Christmas gift from Dad. Annie didn't divorce, she just reminded him of the New Year's party. Jack accepted reality helplessly, unable to change it. This starkly different life made him frown, the closet full of cheap, rough clothes. As he was at a loss, his daughter came in, staring curiously, but fled in fear from Jack's strange look. At dinner, he donned some presentable loungewear, while a lovely lady offered to help him with his jacket. The interest displayed was lost on him, as he was drawn to Anna's laughter, experiencing an inexplicable sense of happiness. After the banquet, they headed home, where Annie insisted Jack walk the dog before bed. Though he was reluctant, he complied. When he returned, his wife was asleep, but pajamas lay ready by the bed. It was his first taste of home's warmth. The next morning, he woke to an empty bed and couldn't help but smile, thinking the dream was over. Yet a baby's cries brought him back to reality. He knocked to remind Annie of the endless wailing. But Annie informed him it was his turn to take care of the baby today, and reminded him to drop the son off at daycare. With no choice, he trudged toward the crypt, but the scene before him left him completely baffled, unsure where to begin. Luckily, his daughter was there to guide him. However, Jack's clumsy demeanor raised her suspicions. She thought the man before her was an alien straight out of a cartoon. Subtitles: who had abducted her once, omnipotent father, and brought back an alien instead. Yes, welcome to the daycare. With his daughter's guidance, Jack dropped off his son at daycare and prepared to send his daughter off to school, yet had no clue what to. Annie, where do I go now? Daycare. You're working there? Why? Because you work there. Your job was inherited from your father-in-law's tie shop, and you have to work it. In his office, the walls were plastered with family photos. Though he didn't understand why he smiled in the pictures, that grin radiated genuine. In 1988, he won the Best Employee Award. Recalling his otherworld self, he was overwhelmed with emotion. He was then striving hard in London. Yet, in this parallel world, Jack hadn't boarded a plane but stayed to marry Annie. He simply couldn't fathom why he had willingly let his talents fade away.